Getting close to the finish. Oh, as always, I forget to turn on my overhead light so I can actually see. Just this a little bit. See what's happening. I don't have a lot of space on my desk, so I had to move stuff back and forth. That's okay. Made it work like this for a long time. And I had the ability to improve the situation, I will. That's okay. We work, we all work with what we got, right? thing that's tricky about working with pencils that people don't realize that's always that you can't go back. Like paint or the paper and pencil, once you put a mark on paper, the whitest a piece of paper will ever be is when it's untouched. Once you put a mark on it, you can erase the mark. But kind of the legacy of it is always there. Um, you can't make it any brighter than it was originally. You can't do anything to fully erase the I don't want to call it a blemish, but it is. So that's so you have to start light and build up. And if you make a spot too dark and erase it, it's never going to be as bright as it originally was on the paper. So you're kind of stuck with that. Unlike paint, if you get something you don't like, you can fully paint over it, cover it up. You can get opaque paint, completely opaque, 100% opaque, that you cannot see through. Cover it up, the area you don't like. There's lots of very famous paintings, very expensive old masters paintings from hundreds and hundreds of years ago that have other paintings underneath them. They didn't like it, so they reused the canvas completely and covered it up. You cannot see it. Only way you can know it's there is X-ray it or something like that, or documentation of it. Can't do that with pencil. You have to plan out where your highlights are, the bright spots. You can always go darker, but you cannot go lighter. That's why I do so many layers. You see me going back over an area, the same area multiple times, darker and darker and darker. It's for that reason. If I go too dark and I'm unhappy with it later, well, tough luck on me. And if I'm being honest, consciously, most people will never, even other artists would never know the difference consciously. But you can tell. You can look at it when you look at it. something off or something not there or something doesn't click and you just know it. Like instinct, even if you can't define it necessarily. So I am live streaming this and talking, and there is no one watching. Which is kind of normal for artists. No one's watching. No one's paying attention. I would say no one cares, but somebody cares about this one. They're a couple of people definitely care about this one. So, but usually for artists, no one cares. That no one cares part's the toughest part about being an artist. No matter what anybody says, no matter what any other artist would say. So, makes you want to stop and not do anything. I'll have some people tell you it's, well, what do I draw? What do I paint? Whatever. I have I have any artistic. I have writer's block. I don't have any ideas for songs. I don't have any ideas for what to do. Yeah, well, solution for a lot of that is just to sit down and go. You end up with a lot of bad stuff you will never need or use, but there's something gonna show up eventually, and you'll enjoy the process. But the real demon in the room is understanding that no one else is gonna care. It's easy to do if you're successful and have become a millionaire doing your art. It's easy to do art then. Doing it when no one cares. You've got a room full of painted canvases no one wants to buy or hang up, or portfolio full of drawings no one will ever see. That's the real tough part. That's when it's actually tough. Keep keep going. I've been there. I am there. Probably have always been there at that spot. So I have to keep going, spending the time, just like this stream. No one is watching. The truth is, if you can't do it while no one is watching, you're really only doing it because people are watching. That holds true for anything. You're only doing a thing because other people see it. That's the only reason you're doing it. Only doing this stream, honestly, so that the person this is for, this actual drawing, this actual art is for, can see the process. I thought it would be cool. Well, my mom likes it. My mom likes to watch the videos too, so I'm doing that. I'm doing it for her also. So I have to say that. Say hi, mom. You've gotten that a little too dark. Oh, that section. Extracting. Yeah, I try. See when I get there later. Uh, Looking. I had to lighten that part up. That's the thing you don't realize is you're just doing black and white. The really dark areas tend to attract your eye more. So if you're working with color, bright colors tend to attract your eye more. Yeah, depending. But you have that, you can put in bright colors in a area to balance it out, balance the attraction out. Can't do that with necessarily with black and white pencils. It's only so far you can push certain areas into brightness. Only so many options you have. And occasionally I go too far. Or at least in my opinion, I go too far. It's highly subjective. I understand that. But I'm the one who's making this one, so my opinion is the one that counts with them, right? Yeah, kind of. So for the person who's paying me, that's me. You really, somebody's paying you for art, you really want them to be happy with it, so that they might pay you again someday. Or get other people to pay you again. That's a big deal too. Making the person who is paying you happy so that they can convince other people, more people, to pay you to make art. That's that's the part I'm not good at, getting other more people to pay me for art. What's the one I'm looking for? Is that it? No, there we go. visual art, especially when you're doing a portrait of a person, an actual live person, or even an animal, even somebody's pet, which I do. Reason turns out I'm pretty good at drawing animals, pets, people's pets, which I do actually enjoy. The more people are, animals are more fun than people, I guess. Uh, I miss having dogs, but just not in a position to do that correctly right now. But anyway, when you're doing a portrait of a person, at a certain point you learn, you've done enough of them. You learn there's a point you have to abandon the source material. It's kind of like, yeah, if you're working from a photograph, you're not actually making that photograph. You're interpreting, making an adaptation of that photograph. Like you watch a movie that's adapted from a book or a comic book, or vice versa. You have at some point you have to abandon the source material better, so you can better reflect the capabilities of the new media. You know, it's uh, the limitations of the new media. Everything has its strengths and limitations. Except me, I have no limitations. We all wish that were true of ourselves. I kind of like that. I like how this is turning out. This is still maybe a little too dark. Yeah, lighten that up a bit. Even though this looks like a pencil, it is not. It is an eraser. It just comes in like that, almost like a mechanical pencil. But I like these over other because it's more pinpoint. If I need to get in a little bitty spot, I can just carve that up and get to a pinpoint and control it better. I also sometimes when I have a very large area I need to lighten up somewhat, I'll use a kneaded, what's called a kneaded eraser. It looks like silly putty. I have one somewhere. That's how that's how often I use it. I don't even know where it is, but you can mold it into shapes, like like Play-Doh. It's like a eraser made out of Play-Doh. So I tend to like this one better. I know you can't tell, but I am going in the same. I'm stroke pushing the using this just like I do a pencil. I'm going in the same direction I made the pencil strokes. Oh yeah, see now Probably makes no difference to you, but looks a lot better to me. It fits in a lot better. I don't, excuse me. No, that shit. That's probably creating all kinds of problems in your ear with my. I need to clear my throat and give me something. Yeah. Get some liquid here. Looking on camera, I really like how this area is turning out here. Yes, need to work some more on these areas. I think. Again, things that the average most people would never notice that needs to be improved or shifted or moved around or ever think is a problem till you push it and it just magically looks better. That's just from years of doing it, decades at this point. I'm old. Um, decades of doing it, decades of wanting it to look better, the thing you're doing. It looks fine. You can look at it and it looks fine. Looks okay, looks great. Just going a little bit of extra refinement. And I don't always get it right. No artist does. Nobody who does visual art, any kind of art. With musicians and actors and sculptors, they look back at their old stuff and, oh, I wish I had done this instead. I wish I had just, you know, modified this little part right here. It's just part of the process. How we get quote unquote better. I don't know if we get quote unquote better. We just get different. Better in our own eyes. That's what we're all striving for, I hope. Feels like I'm just rambling. All right, now a little bit on the background. See what I mean? Right now, you can't really, there's no contrast on the robes. So you have to deal with that when you're doing black and white. And you don't have color. I can't just fill this in with background color to make him do that. So you have to deal with that because you can't see the edge of his robes. It looks like you can. You can't because you always have light falling on there. So you have to deal with the background somewhat somehow to make the edge of the robe actually be there, not just a line. If you just draw a line there, that's okay. I mean, that's okay if that's what you want to do. But just drawing a line or a dark, heavy thing makes it, especially with a drawing, will make it look like a cartoon. If that's what you're going for, that's fine. That's your style. That's what you're going for. This isn't a cartoon, and I can't do that. So I don't want that. That's what makes I know everybody has seen that. You look at a portrait or you look at a piece of art and you think that doesn't. Why is that person's nose? Well, there's something just wrong going on. It's because it's just a line instead of contrast. And lines make just a solid line like that just makes everything look cartoony and unreal. So you don't want solid lines unless you do want solid lines, unless that's the effect you're going for. It's an old thing about painting I hear. Kind of applies to everything in painting. You never use black paint. Never pull out black paint, unless that's what you specifically mean to be black paint. What it means is there are better ways. Black paint just sucks up all the life and light. So it's just solid black, like you're looking at a dead area. So you build up with other colors. And you can get black, but subconsciously when you look at it, it's not black. It's much more livelier than that. And true black is rare in the real world. It's always a mix of reflected colors in there. Even when you look around you, if you look at something that's black in color, now my computer speakers are black in color, but there's very little actual dead black. There's always reflections and light bouncing off of them and creating areas of slightly less black. It's like, and that little spot there would be slightly blue and slightly red or slightly green or slightly less dark or shiny. There's rarely any just dead black in the real world anyway. So you don't want to just use straight up dead black paint because for that reason. Where I learned that. They've been my few mentors I've ever had. Teacher named Jack Denton, who was absolutely a celebrated artist out in the real world. He chose to teach high school art for years. And I was part of his first classes into that, the first forays into teaching high schoolers about art. Hmm. Taught me a lot about the philosophy of it, and how to see. Completely different personalities, he and I. He was a well, probably more laid back than I am. He was a more sophisticated. That also could have been my perception, and maybe a little bit of hero worship. I was also a teenager back then, so that changes things. And yes, art takes a long time. You can see how long it is. How long have I been on this stream? I can't even. I've got it up and I don't know where to look to tell. There's a timer on this thing somewhere. Almost an hour, 50 minutes. And all I've done is this area right here and this little sketch area background. Usually. So if you don't have the patience to sit here and do this, you have to build it up. You have to be able to ignore the pings of your phone. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm using my phone as the webcam so you can see all this. It's literally right there. I'm pointing at it right there. Uh, and it is pinging as it's been pinging and alerts and notifications as I do this. And if you don't have the ability to ignore that and just keep going, you have to build that up. You're never going to get the work done. I, I watched I've watched other people, other artists on Twitch, on stream, doing live art, painting. Most of it's digital. Most of it people are doing art in Photoshop or whatever program they're using. Most of it's digital. They're constantly stopping and typing in their chat room and all that. I'm just, how do you get anything done? Or maybe I'm just the old man. Maybe that's just me and the old man. Get off my lawn. Getting there. Well, I need to move that over, position it. Just because of the layout of the space I have to work in, and I'm left-handed. I had to keep this. There's a stand on my left that's holding the camera up above. You know, little armature that's extended out. And I have to put, it's because of the layout of the space I have. I have to put it on the left. I don't have really enough room because it's not the only on the right hand side over here. So, so I'm constantly kind of bumping into it, uh, or avoiding it as I'm working. That one, what that? And yes, anybody who sees this and want some work done, hey, feel free to contact me. Is it always be selling? Always be selling, right? Yeah. That's the part. Most artists, most people are really bad at it. Always be selling. If I was any good at selling, I would be selling. I would be making more money at this. I'd be off selling Porsches and Lamborghinis, right? But you got to be making. She's got to be paying more than I'm making for my with my art. I'm not sure it's as much enjoyment. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Just probably sell a sell $150,000 Porsche and get that consignment, get that commission check. That's probably pretty fun. Oh, Porsches is probably pretty easy. 'Cause I don't think anybody who walks into a Porsche dealer, nobody walks into a Porsche dealership not being able to afford a Porsche or being on the fence about whether they want a Porsche or a Lamborghini or any car like that. If you walk into a Aston Martin dealership, or really a exotic, any kind of place that sells such cars, you can probably afford it. You're probably going to buy something. So you're not there to, I want to test it and see if I want this one. You probably already know there's something in there you want. So, but I'm a car guy, so I know, if I go look at a car, when I can afford to buy a car. If I go, if I go look at a car, I probably already know everything about that car or that car make, that model. Not everybody's like that. But trust me, Porsche, people that buy high-end cars, they're not screwing around. If you're paying $200,000 for a car, unless you've got billions, oh no, you're researching that car. You know what's going on with that car before you go, or you have, or you have somebody who does know teaches you about it. So, yeah. Oh, looking pretty good. Looking at the looking at the screen a little bit to see how it looks on the screen. The contrast, so how the camera interprets the stroke to the pencil and what it does and does not show. The contrast is interesting to me anyway. You guys can't tell the difference. Anybody watching this can't tell the difference. But like this area right here, where you see that really a lot of kind of a big jump in the values, the light to dark, not really there that much. I mean, it is if you look close, but it's less prominent in the real world, and it's just how the camera combination, how the camera is picking it up, and how the processing it, sending it across the internet, and showing it on screen. All those things are affecting, changing everything just slightly. Yeah, this one's almost finished. Make some tiny adjustments here and there. Little spots that need to be, I think, slightly darker, slightly smaller, slightly lighter. Almost. to a point where we can abandon this piece. Art's never finished. We just stop working on it. His quote is, "Art's not ever finished. It's just abandoned." I don't like abandoned. I prefer to say we just stop working on it. All right, there we go. I'll set it aside for a couple of days. Come back. Oh, wait. Before I do that, I need to do something about this. This is a charm on his. Rosary bracelet. Just way too bright. Showing up. Yep. Okay. Now I'll stop. So I'll set it aside for a couple of days, out of sight, not think about it too much, then come back to it so I can kind of see it afresh. Right now, that is 95%, 96% done. So hope you enjoyed it. We'll do it again soon. I have another one I need to do for the same customer. So we'll get to it eventually. A couple of days maybe. Thanks.